we are debating a report from the Standards Committee of this Parliament. Its representation is made up of the three largest parties in this chamber, and they have agreed a suspension which will seem lenient to the public, but does represent the most severe action ever taken against a member of this Parliament. Michael Matheson will be suspended for 27 days and his pay will be docked for 54 days. But we must be honest. Any other Scot would have been handed their P45 straight away. If someone is found to have falsely claimed £11,000 from their employer, in this case the taxpayer, then they lied about it as part of a cover-up, they would have been sacked. Let me be clear, this is not a harmless mistake that some have attempted to present it as. This was a deliberate and shameless attempt to pull the wool over the eyes of this Parliament and the public. It is an open and shut case, a case that has already been considered in great detail by the Scottish Parliament corporate body and by the Standards Committee. And this independent process exists for a reason, and it should be respected and upheld by members across the chamber. Yet instead, what we have seen from SNP members, and specifically from John Swinney, the First Minister, is an attempt to derail and undermine due process. And this has been done for the sole purpose of protecting one of their own. Now, I want to put on record that the actions of John Swinney, the actions of the First Minister towards my colleague Annie Wells would make Donald Trump blush. It is disgusting and disgraceful behaviour that demeans the office of First Minister because he has targeted members of an independent committee in this Parliament and is attempting to undermine due process with his bully boy tactics. Now, Presiding Officer, I've looked at who has been in agreement with John Swinney during the process, not now, and we've heard from the Deputy First Minister that she agrees with John Swinney. But I can find nothing on record to suggest that at any point, while this has been considered by the Standards Committee, that Jackie Dunbar, an SNP member, raised any concerns, Alistair Allen, an SNP member, raised any concerns about Annie Wells being included, or Ivan McKee raised any concerns about Annie Wells being included. I'll come back in a minute. I then looked at Michael Matheson's own personal statement. Now, he was asked to provide a personal statement to the committee. It runs to 10 pages. It is 5,500 words. At no point is there any reference to his concerns that Annie Wells was sitting on a committee to judge his fate. No, I'm just going to make this point. The only person, well, if I get time, I will. The only person, the one MSP who raised complaints during the process was John Swinney. He was the only one to do it. And then I was hoping to intervene on the Deputy First Minister, but I will let her intervene on me because I am puzzled with the approach we now have from the SNP. Are we really going to have the bizarre and perhaps unique approach in the Scottish Parliament, a bizarre and unique approach in the Scottish Parliament, where the SNP successfully amend a motion to the wording of their choice, and then the SNP won't vote for the SNP amended motion? Will the Deputy First Minister confirm that is her plan this afternoon?
Do continue, Mr Ross.
Well, I'm unsure. So are we in uncharted territory? Are we in uncharted territory where the SNP... Do I get extra time for interventions, Presiding Officer? Yeah. Maybe Alistair Allen can tell us, has he been whipped to vote for the SNP amendment? And if that SNP amendment is successful, will then he vote it down?
Alistair Allen.
The member may have forgotten, but when I attempted to get in on him some minutes ago, he was making the claim that I had never raised the issue of a member of the committee having tweeted about matters in advance. I wasn't going to say this, but I did actually privately raise this with the convener of the committee. And And it's supposed to be in private, not that everything from this committee was.
Douglas Ross, in conclusion.
So therefore I was correct. No public statements from any MSP apart from John Swinney. And no answer. No answer. So SNP MSPs, if they listen, just so we get this correct, SNP MSPs are going to vote to amend the motion to the wording of their choice and are then not going to support the SNP's motion today. It is bizarre in the extreme. Presiding officer, this has been a sorry saga for this SNP government from the beginning. But John Swinney had the opportunity to clean the slate. Instead, he chose to support his friend and colleague in direct opposition to the Scottish public. Unlike the SNP, the Scottish Conservatives will back this ban today. Michael Matheson has failed the public and he has failed this Parliament. His actions are indefensible. But amazingly, John Swinney and the SNP continue to oppose any punishment of their friend and colleague. In closing, people across Scotland
we must
are
conclude,
watching
Mr. Ross.
in disbelief, and they are
Mr.
watching
Ross,
the SNP.
Thank you.